Let's talk about a mortgage pre-approval versus a mortgage pre-qualification or pre-approval versus pre-qual, if you want to call it that. So these are two very different things, and they are two terms that people often confuse. So mortgage pre-approval and mortgage pre-qualification. So let's talk about the difference. While similar, the biggest difference between the two is paperwork. So in other words, both these things are absolutely necessary, and typically the pre-qualification will come first and then a pre-approval. But you can skip the pre-qualification, go straight to pre-approval. So what is the difference? Right. So mortgage pre-qualification, it's essentially the borrower, the person wanting to get the loan, tells us how much they make, how much they have in the bank, what they do, and all that fun stuff. And so we write it down or type it in our computer as a mortgage industry, right? We put it in there. And then based on what they tell us, meaning their income, and then the credit we pull, we'll look at, probably do a soft pull, maybe a hard pull. Lenders are very different. But either way, they'll look at your credit. They'll analyze your monthly income, your expenses, how much you say you have in the bank. And then from that, they're going to say, you're good. Congratulations, you are pre-qualified. So there's no verification of documents, no verification of like income or assets. It's just truly we're just taking people at their word for it. So what that means is somebody could say they make $1 million a month. I'll believe them. I mean, not really. Depends on what they do and whether or not I believe them or not. But the reality is, if they tell me the number that sounds reasonable, that's what we use as a mortgage industry, and that's what makes it a pre-qualification. So it's less reliable than a pre-approval, and I'll explain that why. Again, paperwork is the difference here. So what are the benefits? Why do people get pre-qualified? One, I will tell you this, my personal opinion as a mortgage person, mortgage professional for over 20 years. Absolutely, highly recommend, and we truly, as much as we can, we insist on people getting pre-approved. Why does everybody not get pre-approved? They just don't want to go through the work. And fine, I get it, right? They're like, no, I know what I told you is good, and if you tell me based on that information, I'm good. My team, the mortgage market team, we will issue pre-qualification letters. We do it on a regular basis. Our numbers are usually about 40% of people get pre-qualified, 60% get pre-approved. But for the ones that are pre-qualified, we'll do it if they're, say, normal W-2 salaried, long time in the job, credit looks good, assets seem reasonable as far as what they make, and all those things where just if it makes sense, we will absolutely issue it. And again, we're very good at what we do, so we do have a great reputation, and realtors understand that when they call us, we explain that. But truthfully, people do the pre-qualification because it takes less time. It doesn't involve the paperwork. It shows that they've taken at least enough of an initiative to get their credit pulled and talk to somebody. But really, those aren't the real benefits of doing the pre-qualification. Those are just to get started process. So let's talk about what it means to do an actual pre-approval. So again, mortgage pre-approval versus pre-qualification. The pre-approval, as I mentioned, is paperwork. And this is the part where once we've gotten all this information, you'll absolutely come back to us and say, okay, here's my pay stubs, here's my tax returns, here's my bank statements, or whatever it is we give you for checklists as a mortgage industry. You can now say, look, here's what it is. It takes us a day or two to review it. Come back to you and say, congratulations, you are now pre-approved. Pre-approvals, man, they carry a lot of weight, right? It shows the seller that if you're putting an offer in on a home, shows them not only have you taken the initiative to talk to a lender, you've done your homework. And more importantly, we've removed all the potential skeletons or hurdles or problem, things that could ultimately prevent you from being credit worthy. We've already addressed those things. That's what pre-approval is. And just as important, you as a buyer, you can now have like the beat your chest, look at me, I'm King Kong, and go in and make a really aggressive offer. I've absolutely seen sellers take a lower purchase price or lower offer because somebody's pre-approved. I've done it many times. I owned 16 rental properties and we were selling them off. If there was a pre-approval and it was a couple grand less, I didn't care. Pre-approval meant they were real. They were serious. They'd done the work. I had a lender that told me they're good, right? That is huge as a seller. In addition to that, you can close faster. Why? Because you got a head start. The lender's already got your documents. Now it's like you get to skip a bunch of steps and start doing the hard stuff like the appraisal and the home inspection and all that right out of the gate. And you don't have to sit there and monkey around for a week getting paperwork back and forth. So pre-approvals, I'm telling you, it is the way to go. So when you do this, yes, is a pre-qualification quicker? Yeah, it's minimal docs. I understand you have to jump through all the hoops and it's a lot easier. And if you're like, man, I'm good, I got a A++ credit and I make a ton of money, that's fine. We can get you some rough ideas on far as numbers, but those are not a guarantee. It's just saying it is what it is. Whereas the pre-approvals, again, you have done the real deal, right? It carries so much more weight and credibility. And to get all that stuff done doesn't take, but call it 30 to 45 minutes of your night. And guess what? You're going to have to do it anyway. And you could say, well, what if I'm not sure? I'm shopping lenders. Fine. Don't care. Whoever you do a mortgage with is going to need that paperwork anyway. So you're not wasting your time. You're going to get it all together. You have it. And for whatever reason, you don't like the person or something happens, you want to switch, you've already done the paperwork, guys. So again, it absolutely is imperative that you do this. And so when does the mortgage market team not issue pre-qualifications? If somebody is self-employed, commission-based, overtime, questionable credit, light on assets, anything that's going to give us like angst to where we're not sure if you're truly pre-qualified, like, hey, if you're self-employed, man, who knows what those write-offs look like on those tax returns? We're not going to issue a pre-qualification letter. We will wait for the pre-approval to be done, and we will mandate that you do it because, again, we're not going to put our reputation on the line, and not more importantly, we're not going to put you, the home buyer, through that angst of thinking you're good to suddenly getting a contract, going through all this work, spending all this money to find out you're not. So again, I understand it feels like, oh, you're not as easy to work with because you're going to make me do all this paperwork up front. Yeah, we are. But that's because we guarantee we're going to be good, right? So the comparison between pre-qualification and pre-approval, again, pre-qualification, it's quick. It's based on what somebody tells us, self-submitted data. Pre-approval says, man, we've actually validated all this stuff. So I cannot tell you, if you can't tell, I'm very passionate about this. Please, when you're considering a mortgage pre-approval versus pre-qualification, choose the pre-approval all the time, every time. There's no reason not to. And if you have questions about what you're doing or what it should look like, feel free to call the Mortgage Mark team. We are here to help. And as always, when you think mortgage, think Mark and get pre-approved.